This is what we're going to be looking at for this session is nurturing your artist life. But I thought before we get going with the content, I just want to quickly share who I am because there are lots of new people. I'm very excited that there are new people in the community from all over the place with all kinds of art forms. And my name is Sonja Smal here. I'm originally from Cape Town, South Africa, but I've been living in beautiful the Netherlands for nearly 33 years. I was coming for my studies. I was going to stay 3 years, but ended up staying 33 years, so 30 years longer. But the love of art and the love of a special guy, Marco, kept me here and not under force, but I love living in the Netherlands. And the art has also definitely been an incentive to bring me here, just the amazing museums, galleries, when we could still go and visit them, and just the design elements. The Netherlands is very flat, as many of you know, and I just love how it's a nation that's been designed. So unlike you're rich in Switzerland, where everything has sort of had to be built around mountains and waterways, we've had to design around the geographic that we have. So that's just a little bit of a snippet. So originally from Cape Town, living in the Netherlands. This is Marco. Here's my husband here on the left. And he's a great support also for my business. I have an art coaching business. I'm an art coach, but also an artist. So I get the artist heart. I understand the struggles because I've been there myself. And I know that it's not always easy being a working artist. And out of that personal frustration after leaving the academy, not really knowing how to create a revenue stream with my art, I started delving in, interviewing artists, reading lots of books, doing courses in marketing and in business, and now have set up content through my podcast, through the course that I give, and different mini courses to help you set up some solid foundations. So that's a little bit about the business side. Mark is a great support also in that, and a great admirer of art. I've always lived on the edge of design and of art, of fine art, to do different kinds of artistic expressions, but have worked in the design space for many years. I've seen the good, the bad, and the beautiful of the art and creative business and creative industries that has really given me insights into what works and what doesn't work, and put all of that into my resources because I just love seeing artists succeed. Art is so important. If there's ever been a time that art needs to be seen, heard, messages out there, voices out there, points of vision being expressed in a visual way, it's now. So if you're still doubting whether art is important and how does that weigh up against the pandemic and what's happening in the world, you have an amazing profession, and your voice needs to be out there in your whatever creative expression you have. People are also longing for just beauty around them and voices around them and expression around them, and that's you. And I'm hopefully going to share some tips, and also through my resources. I have a website helping you communicate better, stronger, clearer through your website, through your branding, through statements that you're writing, through your photography, through all those things that make your art elevated, and that you can communicate it more clearly. So have a look also at my website if you haven't been there yet. There's an array of podcast episodes that you can listen to as you're working and making your art, and also you can download some resources that you can get better insight into your own creative process. So that's on the website. And then I have a signature course. You may have heard about it. It's called the Working Artist Course. Once a year, that course goes online. That's artists join in from all over the world, and it's a 12-week trajectory, so that you spend time together working through what does it mean to be an artist, getting really clear about who you are as a person, as an artist, what makes you unique. How does that translate to your art, and who is your art audience? How do you start connecting your art with an art audience? And that's where the whole communication comes in. Having your photography, your website, all your communication channels through social media, etc., as clear as possible, so that you can communicate to the right audience. And that's the course. If you haven't joined the Working Artist course yet, then I want to welcome you to jump onto the wait list, because the waitlist is an active list that I inform you how you can best prepare for the course. and you're going to really start preparing now. It starts again in 2021. 2021 has just started. 2022 in the spring, that's the Northern European spring, we'll be opening up the doors again for that course. And I can really highly recommend the course, because I just got an email this morning from someone who did the course last year, and she says, I've sold so many art pieces. This has really changed my life, just going through the course, because she's got clear about who she is, what her art is about, communicating it. She had a photo shoot. Her art looks amazing online. She's found traction also with an art audience, and that just doesn't happen magically by chance or luck. You need to take steps. So that's what the course is about. 2022, I open the doors again, but you don't have to wait. You can get prepared. That's why this community is there. I have the wait list. So please feel free to join the wait list so that you can stay informed about what is going to be happening. The Help I'm Artist community. Let me know if you are here in the community, because I know this is being live in the community. So yes, you are in the group. So welcome if you've joined. If I haven't said hello to you yet, hello Aletta. Good to have you here. Tell me what kind of art you're making. Heidi is here from South Africa. Good that you could make it, Heidi. And just thank you for being part of the community and being active. Elizabeth is here. Great, guys. The Help I'm Artist community is really a community that I started because we all need that inspiration, that help, that connection with other artists. I think especially now in this time of lockdown or lockdown or nearly lockdown, we all have different scenarios. We need to connect with each other. It's so important to stay inspired, and the community's there to share your work, to ask questions, to interact with one another. Also with me, I try and be here every week so that I can answer questions. Hey, Gesine, good to have you here. I see people are joining in. Very, very welcome. So that's the Help I'm Artist community. This really is a community for you guys. So please use the spaces, the comment area, share your work, ask questions, be bold. It's a great training ground before you go into the demanding art world. It's a closed community. It should be a safe place for you to share, to learn, to observe, to enjoy. So that's the community. So connecting insights, and I put the third icon there with the binoculars, is to create vision. Once you start seeing what's possible for you and for your art career, you're going to take different steps. You first need to see it, maybe through other artists. What are they doing? Why are they having success? What can you learn from that? Really creating a vision for your art career. And once you start seeing it, you can start showing other people what that looks like. But I find that many artists that I coach and that I teach are still trying to find what does that look like. And that could be a process, because we haven't always had the best examples. But this community is also there, and these live sessions are there for you to create and cultivate vision. Because if you're seeing it, you can show other people through how you communicate. You'll start communicating in a different way. So that's the Help I'm Artist community, and thank you for being part of that. Please use that space. It's there for you guys to learn, to grow, to be inspired, to be encouraged. Because being an artist, let's face it, is not always easy, because you're not only the artist, but you're also an entrepreneur, especially when you've come to that point where you want to start earning money with your creativity. It's a whole different ball game. You don't, only have to live that inspired life for your art, but also find ways to be that entrepreneur. An entrepreneur means you are taking what you are making, other products, or you are teaching, or you have your art pieces, one-off pieces, reproductions, whatever it is, and you want to sell it. You want to create revenue streams, not just once, but a continual flow. And that it can be very demanding. It really is more than just making your art. And that can be pretty tough. Getting into that business mindset. Because without thinking like a business person, it's going to be very difficult to be successful. And it doesn't mean that you have to be, like a type A personality, sales all the time. No, you can find your way of communicating, your way of sharing your art, your way of thinking taking intentional steps and thinking strategic, because that's what it is. Not just saying yes to every exhibition or yes to every art piece or just making it when you're feeling like it. No, you're doing things with intention. That's when you will start seeing growth. Because as an artist, you are, that entrepreneur. You need, if unless you have unless you have gallery representation, you are self-representing yourself. You are the gallerist, you are the curator, you are the marketeer, you are the salesperson. These are all different parts of your art business, and that it can be very taxing, can be tiring, especially when it's new for you, and you're seeing no results. That's exhausting when you're trying. You're putting things on Instagram and on Pinterest, and you posting on LinkedIn or whatever your art audience, whether you find them and you see little to no results, and that can be very discouraging. So, and then you have to pick yourself up, put everything together again, and keep moving, because if you're not making your art, it's also not happening. So you have to self-motivate so often. So hopefully that this community will help you a little bit to also just motivate you and keep you moving forward. And finding that balance between your art life and your art business life. And that's always like a fine line. It's like, how much do I post? Am I online too much? Am I doing far too much administration? My art suffering from it because I'm not in my studio. Finding a way that you can balance those two sides of having an art career. And that comes through experience, knowing more about yourself, setting up systems. This is all what the Working Artist course is about, is finding that gentle balance so that you can move forward in a good way. Because your art and your art business, it starts with you. You're not making your art, it ain't happening. And your business is not growing. So you need to get into a place that you get more familiar what business looks like. You can learn that. It doesn't mean that you have to have an MBA in business. You can learn that. There's enough out there to learn. Of course, the Working Artist course is there. These sessions are there for you too, or just to get into the right headspace. A great quote from Elizabeth Gilbert: "You have an extraordinary treasure hidden within you." That's all of you. As an artist, you have those treasures within you. Bringing forth those treasures takes work and faith and focus and courage and hours of devotion. We simply do not have time anymore to think so small. And that's about our mindset. You have that treasure, it's in you. Your creativity is not out there somewhere out there, it's in you. It's dormant or lying there. It's, it's in little hidden treasure chests, and it's for you to bring it out. And that takes time, devotion, focus, energy, perseverance to actually mine out your creativity. That's a great quote, Elizabeth Gilbert. Maybe you know the book, Big Magic. She's the author of Eat, Pray, Love. And this is a great little book filled with practical tips of living a creative life beyond fear, because that fear can keep us from moving forward, limiting us, because that's usually where our limit is our own thinking. We limit, having all those beliefs that are not true can keep you, and fear can keep us from moving forward. So that's Elizabeth Gilbert. That's her quote that she, it's a powerful quote. Hello, Anya. Good for the people that are joining the session. You are welcome. Let's move on. Because living as an inspired artist doesn't just happen. If it's more than just your art that you're making, if it's so much more, it's all asking your attention. And being inspired, that's part of your job description. To live from that place of fullness, not the place of lacking or the place of being totally empty or burnt out. That your art will really suffer, and you will see that in your art. So that's why you need to nurture your lifestyle as an artist. And this session was sparked last week by Meredith Warren. She's one of my mentors. She's an amazing artist from the USA, and she joined us in the Working Artist course for a live session. And this is really how she lives her life. She teaches and mentors artists also to live from that place of abundance, to live an inspired life. And she just gave an amazing, delightful session about, nurturing an artist's life. And I thought this is so important. It just brought back to me again, reminded me again how we need to find those things that inspire us so we can be full and filled and inspired and find our creative flow, not out of lack, but out of abundance. So this really sparked something. And we've been thinking about it a lot. And I thought it'd be great to share that with you, with the community. I've broken it down into 4 R's to stay inspired. Just to give you little triggers. I love these little, not formulas, I would call them. Ezelbrug, that's what you call them in Dutch. I'm not quite sure what the English word is. If you know it, just throw it in the comments. Those little just help to think, okay, what can I put into place? What is that? How can I find that inspiration? How can I live a full, inspired artist life? First is relationship. That's the first R we're going to be looking at. And you might think, okay, that's how you're relating to others. And that's part of being inspired. We need others. But this first section is to build a relationship with your own creativity. Understanding who you are as a person. You are unique. There's no one else like you on this planet. And building and having an understanding of who you are, how you sit, how do you function, how does your brain work, how does your body work, how does your eye-hand coordination work, how do you see life? Building a relationship with that, not just taking it for granted, but getting an understanding, and that comes through you can do all kinds of exercises, listening to who you are as an artist as you're making your work. What questions are you asking yourself? What does that inner critic say to you? How you're reflecting on life? This all gives you clues, so you become that detective of your own creative life and getting that understanding. Because an artist's life is a life of self-discovery, because your art is a fruit of what's in you. So it first starts with you having an understanding of who you are as a person, what makes you excited, and that will distill through color, through your palette, through your how how you are moving, your expression, your choice of materials. That will then show on your canvas, on your clay, on your ceramics, or in your stone, or in your jewelry, whatever you're making. It starts with you. And the clearer you are about that, and the more familiar you become with that relationship, the easier it's going to become. Finding out what motivates you as a person, what gets you into your studio, what makes you get out your materials and make your work. That's also part of your journey of self-discovery. And understanding, why are you making your art? Why is it important for you? What is it that that you want to express? Why is it that you've chosen this profession or want to choose that profession as an artist? And it starts with you, starts and ends with you. It's a profession where self-care is so important, because if you are not taking care of yourself, and I mean that's not only physically, emotionally, in your soul space, if you have a spiritual life, really taking care of yourself so that you are full. And it doesn't mean you need to be perfect. That's not what we're talking about. It's about taking care of yourself. Even just physically, how you're standing behind your easel or how you're sitting in a chair. Because I know so many frustrated artists that have been, limited in how they can work, because they now have ADHD, they have complaints in their body. And I know you don't always have control over that, but just having, how are you taking care of your physical stance, how are you, taking care of your energy level? That's all part of an artist's life, because, the more that you can put in, the more you're going to be getting out. It starts with you as a person. You inspired, it's going to show in your art, and it'll reflect how people are going to resonate with your art, which eventually will reflect on your art business. Because, if you can be productive, you found places and ways to create a revenue stream more consistently, and you are in a happy place, that's going to reflect on all levels. So it may seem like a contradiction, because I know many artists and many of you are so generous in the things that you're giving. You are a giver, because it really is, Piet Mondrian put it this way, it's we are a servant. Being an artist, you are sharing that of yourself. You have found the courage to put it out there on a canvas. You've found the courage to put it out there in an art piece. It's part of you. And so that's very generous. So it's very often we are giving and giving and giving. But there needs to be the balance between receiving and getting, also having input. So it's input, output. So then you can start sharing. And with the billions of people on the planet, you are unique. So the comparing can be so detrimental to your inspiration, into your happy, that you can be in mentally be in a good place. Understanding that you are unique, you are special, there's one of you. You don't have to be someone else, clone yourself or copy someone else. You are you, and that is at the core of your art. So how would those people around, how would you, just some questions for you to think about, how would people around you describe you? What do you need to do to relax? Relaxation is so much part of being an artist. You think, oh, but it's hard work, Sonia. No, rest is such a key ingredient to live a fulfilled creative life. When you're relaxed, things start flowing. But when you're forcing and working and stressing, things shut down. So what do you need to do to relax? And what really inspires you? Getting an idea of that so that you can start feeding that, start nourishing yourself with that. And describe your perfect day. Put that down on paper. When the session is over, put down what it would be your perfect day. If it was like money wasn't the problem, you had time, you felt good, what would a perfect day look like for you? These are all little hints that will give you understanding of who you are as a person. And then besides nurturing that relationship with yourself, taking that self-care, having that time to develop that relationship with your creativity, working with others, having a relationship with others, having a support base is also so important to live an inspired artist life. It's part of nurturing an artist life, because we can't do it together. We can't do it alone. We need to do it together. And very often, many of you are solo entrepreneurs. You're doing things alone. You're artists. It's different when you're in a choir or in a play, or you are part of a band. If creativity is in a group setting, your creativity is a very holistic. And especially now in this whole pandemic, it's really forced us to work a lot alone. And that's why community groups, Facebook or other group activities are so important. Challenges and feeling part of a community, or having that support base around you, is so important to stay on top of it, to stay motivated. And maybe you are alone a lot. Is there someone in your friendship circle, or in your church, or in a committee, or in your, that from your art class, that you can sort of connect with and say, I really need some input, please. Can you, we chat or Zoom once a month, and find people around you that are similar, that you're feeling safe and secure with, that you can connect, because this also helps. You can learn so much from each other, and we really do need each other. The second R of the staying inspired R's is reflection. It's time to get quiet. There are so, we can be alone, but there can still be very noisy with this whole social media and with everything that happens, and all, television, everything that we're consuming, information, that very often we're living outside of ourselves. We haven't taken the time to get quiet enough to really listen to our own voices, to listen to our own heart, what makes you you. And that happens when you get quiet. And if you're spiritual, you can do that through, your spiritual experiences, or going out into nature, or just, journaling, turning off that phone, turning off the notifications, and getting quiet. And that can be a scary place, because you don't know what's going to be coming up, but it's so worth getting into that space. Connecting with yourself. You can really take the time of reflection to ask, am I on track? because you can work from painting to painting, drawing to drawing, art piece to art piece, and just, do things, and you don't really know where you're going. You're going sort of zigzagging all over the place. But once you start working more structured, you can really get quiet enough to look at what's working, what's not working, and what can you learn from it. Because invariably we'll learn more from our failures than from our successes. That's just the way life is. We need to bump ourselves, knock ourselves, fall off that bike a few times to understand how this, cycling works. Not very fun always, but it is those failures that will make us stronger, teach us things, show us those are our teachers. And what can you learn from the things that haven't worked last year or haven't worked in these first 3 months of the year? What can you say? Like, well, that's not working, or I'm posting, I should be posting in a different way. And just finding out what works and what doesn't work helps you get more confident. And that confidence can be inspiring, because you think, I'm not just in the fog, there's some clarity, and that can be very empowering. And using that sketchbook. I don't know if you guys are sketching. Are you sketchers? Hey, Maria. Good to have you here. Bruno, welcome in the session. Who of you are using sketchbooks? Are regular sketchers in sketchbooks? Let me know. Give me a yes or give me a no. This is not a judgment or anything. If you're not doing it, that's totally fine. But I found sketching is such a wonderful way just to keep the flow, just having that pencil, or at the end of a painting session, just putting the rest of my paint that's on my palette in the sketchbook, and little doodles around it, just without having a brief or having someone looking over your shoulder telling you that's not good art, or you shouldn't be doing that, Sonia. You can just play, and that's so much part of your inspirational journey. Jess, hi Jess, says yes, which is no. Hi, Kus, let me put my glasses on before I really make a mess of your name. Kusum, welcome. Sketching a lot. Heidi, not enough. I have, I don't know how many I have, but this is an example of one of my sketchbooks. I just cut and paste, tear things out of, magazines. I take lots of photos, and I used to print a lot more than now. Now everything's digital. I really have to make a point of putting things, getting them out of my mobile. And I bought a little sprocket. Maybe I'll show you next time in the next session. It's a little printer that prints things out like on like an Instagram story size, a mobile phone size, and you can just get those photos out of your camera. That just help, because everything stayed digital, and I wanted to get them out, and we don't take the USB stick or go to a service to print things out, or on your own printer. It takes lots of ink. So print out those photos, or tear things out of magazines, doodle around. Nothing's right or nothing's wrong, but a sketchbook is just wonderful. And every time I look at my sketchbook and I think, oh, that's how, I was busy with that, or I was busy with this, and just it helps you stay inspired. It brings what you're feeling on the inside outside, because often you feel things so intensely, or you experience things, or you don't even understand the things that are going on inside of you, and just bringing it out, it makes it visible. And you're thinking, oh, that's interesting, or if I can combine that and I can combine that, then I have an interesting story, or that's be great for a painting, or that be a cool drawing. So this is something to be treasured. And just when I applied for the Art Academy, I said to them, do I need to bring my portfolio, or how do you, when you're applying for an art school? And they said, your sketchbook, bring your sketchbook. And literally they were looking, how many pages have you torn out of your sketchbook? They want to know, not if you can draw a beautiful face, if your proportions were right. Sure, this all helps. But they were looking for, how are you curious? What are you a curious person? Are you putting down the things, the observations that you're seeing? Are you able to bring what's creative inside of you that makes you unique out? And that was far more important to them, whether my perspective was perfect or if my anatomy was, 100%. So those sketchbooks, importante. See, a lot of you have sketchbooks. That's great. Hi, Carla van Deventer. No sketchbook. Well, you know where to find them. If it's your birthday soon, ask for a sketchbook. And I see that Yes says it's the best mood board. I also have one when I collect my techniques, abstract media painting, mixed media, sketching now as I'm listening. Hey, good. If you think you want to share something, you want to share some things of your sketchbook, please, take little snippets of them and put them in the community, because I also love sketchbooks. But of course, it's a private thing. It could be like a diary. No pressure to share it with other people. It's your place. And I've seen the biggest inspiration kill of all times is stress and worry. I don't know if you guys are worriers or stressors. See my hand? Finding a way to deal with stress and with worry is important to stay in your creative flow, to live an inspired artist life. Especially when you are building a business around your creativity. Like being an artist as a hobby, doing it for fun, there's no clients or people that are looking over your shoulder. The pressure is not on. But when you start turning that into a business form, that's when the stress starts happening and the worry, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And that really can take all your focus off of your creativity. And that's why setting up systems around your creativity is so important. Getting clear and planning things ahead, having that reflection, what is working, what is not working. Thinking not only as the artist, but as a business person, it can come together. As I said, you don't need that MBA in business. You can set up structures. You can sort of see with the results what's working, what's not working. So you can get more control. And I think that's the most challenging of being an artist. There's little to no control because you don't even know what's going to be happening on that canvas. You can plan and you can make little thumbnails and you can think about your palettes and setting up that as far as possible. But there's surprises along the way. That's the joy of creativity. And then, of course, you don't know how it's going to turn out, who's going to be actually buying or interacting with it, unless you're working on commission. So there's a lot of variables and a lot of insecurities there. So the more you can control of what's controllable, the better. And then you don't have to have all that stress and worry. And then you find that you are in a better headspace to live and work from that place of inspiration. The third R of our staying inspired is regard. And that's just to get a nice R word for seeing, for regarding, seeing, observing, being curious, having that open mindset so that you can nourish your artist heart. And nourishing is like feeding, like a plant needs water. If the plant's not being watered, it's going to die. You need to nourish your heart. This is part of your job. It's not like an option. Oh, what a luxury I need to have, to find inspiration. This is not like a perk. This is like a must. You need to be inspired. You need to get to that place where your creativity is flowing. How you can do that, you can learn from other artists. There's lots of art out there. The online space has made it possible to engage with the other artists, to see a lot of artwork, especially now when we can't really get out into the gallery spaces or into museums. Go online and find artists that inspire you and take note of them and just be inspired. There's a little caveat on this. If you're noticing that you're being totally overwhelmed and paralyzed because of all the art you're consuming outside of your studio or online, then really curate what you're watching. And, there's a time to look at it, and especially I do that in the morning before I get going. I love looking through art portfolios and Insta feeds and, artists that inspire me. But it mustn't keep you from making your own art time-wise, but also feeling overwhelmed and comparing yourself with others. Because when you start comparing, that's also a fizzler. That's like the wet blanket of your creativity. You want to stay, come to a place where you allow your own creativity to come out and not just, thinking, oh, look at that. Oh, that person does it so much better. Look at her. She does beautiful portraits. There's always going to be people better than you. There's always going to be, that's less experienced as you. That's just a given. But find artists that inspire you, that nurture, and so that you nourish your artist's heart. So what artists inspire you and why? Finding out why. And this is something I want to bring into this Help I'm Artist community. I'm going to set up some thumbnails so that you can share the artists that inspire you, because it's, I only know so many artists and other artists. And so when you see those posts come in the community, then please interact and share the artists that inspire you, and the URLs or artwork of theirs, so that we can inspire one another. So it's a big pool of inspiration. And adopt artist affirmations. That's these artist quotes. I love quotes. It's like nuggets of truth in few words. That's always just gets me going. I have them all over the place. And if you're not feeling it, an artist quote helps. This is a great book. It's full of artist quotes, artists that are still alive, artists that are no longer with us, and divided into all kinds of themes. So about income and about education and about the artist routine. And this is a great book. I look at it often, and then just some things speak to me more than others. And then you can get your inspiration in word form, and you can print them out, hang them up, paint them out, make collages out of them. So inspiring art quizzes are there for you to enjoy. And then reading. I love reading books. Also, especially physical books, art books, beautiful art books. Before you get going, look through art books. Look at lots of different kinds of art. Maybe even different architecture, theater, design. I love architecture. Architecture design really inspires me. So I just love looking at buildings. I love looking at architecture magazines, because that inspires me with my art. So find things that inspire you and surround yourself with those things. Also beautiful things. If you love plants, like I love plants, I would have loved to live in the tropics, but that is not happening in the Netherlands. So I've just brought the tropics into my house. Every room is filled with plants and with flowers, and that inspires me. I need that to nourish my artist heart. What do you need? And what can you add to your spaces to inspire you? And I saw that about the mood board. Let's see, that was you. Yes. I love mood boards. Just getting a piece of foam core with pins and everything that you sort of come across. Just be collector of things, and just pin them on the mood board and put that into your space. Whether you have a studio or a table or a shoebox, whatever you're working from, then you can put it out, and then you can see your inspiration. We are visual people, we are visual artists, we need to see things. So getting it out, making a mood board, and then surrounding yourself with music and poetry and movies and stories. And that's also what I'm going to be doing in the community. If you've seen an inspiring art movie on Netflix, something that inspired you, put it in the community, because there, a lot of us have Netflix. We can have a look at that same movie. It'll inspire us. So let's use that space to be there for one another. And the final R is routine. And you think, oh, not very inspiring. That is totally going to snuff out my creativity. On the contrary, when you set up some kind of routine, it's going to give you confidence. And there can be a routine in all kinds of ways. Firstly, with an art routine, setting up a routine around your work, around, just doing the work. So maybe have that routine in the morning when you come into your studio, or you're starting your artwork, that you first want to just have a look at other art. I have a play moment. So I put music on really loud, my favorite music. I get my art supplies, they're all over my table, and I'm just playing. There's no editing or someone, telling me that's right, that's not right. Just getting into the flow of playing with my creativity. That's the fun part, just being a creative person. What a gift to be able to do that. So maybe that's part of your routine, or having that coffee, just sitting in your studio, sitting in your space, just having the time to reflect and to think. Make that part of your work routine. It's part of your job. It's not a luxury. You're not wasting time. This is part of your art routine. And then when you come to that place, when you feel, okay, now you are in a good place, you can start with, maybe you have commissions, or you have projects, or you have assignments, or you need to set up your own assignments. That's when you can get started. Anyone have an art routine? something that you do, like part of a ritual, morning ritual. When you start your creativity, I do this. I start my creative process, I do that. Let me know. We all have, or we should adopt some kind of routine, because this gives us confidence, it gives us trust, it gives us momentum to move forward. When you're just wishy-washing every time all over the place, it makes it very difficult to start again. It's like, oh, now I have to find the wheel again. So who's has some kind of art routine? Put it in the group, put it in the comments. So that's all starts with the first, about having a relationship with your creativity. Once you know what you need, what you enjoy, what's important to you, that you give yourself that gift, whether that's that reflection time, more time in nature, more time, being consumed, surrounding yourself with beauty, the better then you can be in a place where you can start giving again. Cup of tea and painting, yes. Great to hear. Put everything within your studio, you meditate, and whatever that means to you, whatever your spiritual life looks like, or you're reading or having those quotes, and then you're having your tea and then you're painting. Great, thank you for sharing that. And he says, trying to set up one, need that coffee, yep. And then reading about art history, and then getting into the flow. Maria says, taking photos in nature, then go for a walk and then draw afterwards. Which is no routine at the moment. And Kasim says, I struggle with routine. There can all be reasons for that. It doesn't mean has to be a rigid regiment, like, it has to be like from this time or this time. Find what you need. What do you need? Like Maria takes her nature walks. Anya looks at books. You have your mood boards, or you just do some sketching. What do you need? Finding that way, that really is such a good place to be. Heidi says, I try once a week to go into the landscape early in the morning to take pics of that golden hour. Whoa. Yeah, that would be inspiring. Share some of those pictures, Heidi, in the group. Need to finish the chores in the morning before you start beginning. This tends to weigh upon me. Yeah, I get you there. Having those things, to-do list. I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. If you can just get them done, then you have like a clear schedule to get going, and give yourself permission. I've spoken to many artists, and very often they feel guilty about their creativity. I'm not saying that this is you, Kasim. There's many. We all have our reasons, our motivations. But then they say, oh, I feel so guilty because, it's only art. There's like world epidemic, things happening. And then I'm making my art. It doesn't seem like you're contributing to society or contributing to the world. And this is also some things that you have to give yourself permission, that it's important what you're doing. What you're doing is important. It matters. It's a profession. You need to have that time staring at your canvas. Maybe you need an hour just to stare, just to look. Just as it's different than procrastinating. If you're delaying and you're thinking, fear is holding you back, but if you just need time to look, to observe, to view objects, look at a still life, and then get going, that's totally fine. It's like you need to give yourself permission that it doesn't have to be production. You need to find your flow. What do you need to stay inspired so that you can get that work done? Margot says, first that cup of coffee, writing in my journal, and then a visual art diary. Great, wonderful. That'll get the juices going. And Rich says, painting for me is good therapy. Yeah, isn't that just a wonderful gift that we can actually, it's something that you nurture yourself and then you can share with others. So make inspiration time part of your work routine, and then trust in your creativity. Trust that it's there. Artist blocks happen because we think, you need to reach outside of yourself to try and find it. Where is it? I've lost my creativity. The more you do it, and also setting up a routine, making, living inspired, you will start trusting that it's going to show up for you. What you filled up is going to ooze out. Trusting in that creativity, and then setting up systems, whether that's a routine, setting up some kind of ritual, whether it's that journaling or sitting or playing or going for a walk, whatever that means to you, so that you can create more consistently. And that consistently creates like a cadence, so that you just get into a flow. Like a river needs to flow, it needs to move, it needs to, stagnant water starts getting quite smelly. You need to have your creativity flow as well. So those are the 4 R's that I've highlighted for this session, nurturing your artist life. Relationship with yourself, with others, working in collaboration, setting up support base around you, having the time to reflect, getting quiet enough to think, to really make that part of your process. Regarding other artists, being inspired by the things around you, whether that's art or whether that's nature or whether it's how you're cooking or the photos that you're taking, whatever you need as far as getting visual inspiration, and then making that part of your routine, setting up some kind of structure, which will give you confidence, which will give you peace of mind that things are taken care of. You're not walking in the fog, going around in circles. So hopefully that's helping you guys. Anyone else would like to share something about living an inspired artist life? Do you have a tip? Do you have some kind of insight, something that has inspired you this week, that got you going? Please put in the comments as we close the session off. And we'd love to know. We're all there to help one another. Throw it in the comments. So glad you joined, yes. Looking forward to seeing you more in the community. Please feel free to use that comment area or the post about your work. I'll be writing little challenges for the group that you can share your inspiration, movies or music or artists, art websites, interesting people to follow, so that we can help each other live the best possible creative lives possible. So great that you joined. I see Heidi says, absolutely, the staring part helps me to own the image, to understand it, and what the landscape is telling me. What the landscape is telling me. Okay, anyone else want to add anything to the conversation? Feel free. Heidi says, I do believe understanding, or rather looking at the masters and art movement, and the art movement in general, is vital. For sure. This is the book that I have. Look at it often. It's called The Algemene Kunstgeschiedenis, but this is the Dutch version of, it's also, of course, it's written in English with Hugh Honor and John Fleming, and it gives you the whole overview of art history. And it just helps keeping things in context, that we are building on other art movements and how that fits together. So yeah, I love history, I love reading. So this is something I look often at, and it just helps me put things into perspective and to give some understanding. So definitely. Okay, Margot, she says she has to leave, not a problem. I'll be seeing you in the group. Thank you very much for everyone that's joined in. And if you have more questions, just add them to the comments of the session, and then I'll be seeing you in the community. Thanks again for being part of the Help I'm Artist community. And you guys know where to find me, and we will stay connected through the group, and you can DM me. That's also totally possible. All right, see you next time. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, and the rest of the week, and let's stay connected. Okay, guys, thank you. Ciao.